Hi friends, happy March. Today I'm excited to share a pattern I designed for a clover. It's perfect for March decorating or St. Patrick's Day. So we'll go ahead and do the crochet pattern together step by step. Let's get into it. Alright, so here we have our clover, Amigurumi. And let's go over all the materials we need to make this guy. So we've got to start with our yarn, which is Premier Parfait Chunky in the color Goblin. This is one of their new colors. It is a 100% polyester, super bulky weight. And with that, we're going to be using a 4mm tulip crochet hook. We've got a bent tip darning needle to sew our ends in. We've got some Fisker's thread snips, a stitch marker, and some polyfill stuffing, just polyester stuffing to stuff our plushie. So let me clear this off and we can go ahead and get into the pattern. Okay, so we're going to start by making a few of the end pieces, and we're going to make the full parts of the leaves on either side, make the full leaf on the top, and then crochet them all together on the back side and then the front side, and then we're going to add the stem at the last part. So I'll put this over there. So we're going to make 3 of these end caps, only this last part, not the full piece, but the last part. And those are going to start with a magic ring. So make our magic ring here. We're going to do 6 single crochet into the magic ring. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I will also in the description link all the materials and some tutorials for the magic ring, for the yarn under, yarn over, single crochet technique I'm doing. All of that will be in the description as well if you want to check that out. Row 2 is 6 increase. I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we should have 12 stitches now. I'm going to go ahead and place the stitch marker. And row 3, which is the last piece of this end cap, is going to be a single crochet followed by an increase around 6 times for a total of 18 stitches at the end. So we've got 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 2 single crochet in the second increase, 3 increase, 4 increase, 5 increase, and 6 increase for a total of 18. We can go ahead and remove the stitch marker, and that is one of our end caps. So we can go ahead, cut at the long tail to sew a gap later. And that is 1. We'll make two more of these for a total of 3. And I'll go ahead and do that and come right back. Okay, so we've got our 3 end caps here, and now we're going to make one of them into a side leaf. To do that, we're going to repeat again. We're going to make another end cap for it to connect up to. So again, we're going to do our single crochet, 6 single crochet into the magic ring. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's row 1. And you can place the stitch marker on these rows too if you'd like. I normally don't, but I'll place it there. So row 2 is the 6 increase. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Place our stitch marker again. And row 3 was our single crochet increase repeat. So we'll go ahead and do that. Increase, single crochet number 2 in our second, increase, 3, and increase, 4, increase, 5, increase, and number 6, and our increase. Take that out for a second. Okay, and we are not going to finish this off. We're going to use this to continue single crocheting around and connect to one of these end caps. So we are going to take one of these guys, and we ended at this stitch on this side, so we're going to single crochet into this next one, put our hook through, find our live yarn. Oops, move that over a bit. And we're going to single crochet around this part and then single crochet around this other one. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. Remember, there were 18 that we ended round 3 with. That pops back outward. And make sure you're not twisting as you're crocheting back into this first piece again. So this is untwisted. And we ended at this stitch, so we're going to go into this next one right here and do our 18 as well. Do the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. So you see we've got a gap here, and we'll fix that after the following row. So pop those out a bit, and we're going to place our stitch marker right there on our current stitch. So here's what we're looking at right now. It's coming along, you see it's looking like the shape a little bit. We're going to do the next row, row 5, is going to be, again, just single crochet around for a total of 36 single crochets. And then we'll go ahead and deal with the gap. So we're going to do the first one right here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And feel free to use the YouTube video controls to speed up or slow down the video as you're crocheting along with me. I recommend just watching it one time through to start with so you get an idea of how it's structured before you jump in and start crocheting. Kind of like how patterns recommend you read through the pattern first before you jump in. It's the same idea. Okay, we're almost done with our row 5, rounding the corner here. And the last one goes right there. Perfect. So we're going to replace our stitch marker. And now we can sew that gap shut. You see we still have the hole right in the middle between where we joined them. So let's go ahead and flip that over. We'll find the long tail from the first end cap that we left, nice and long for us to sew with, and thread it onto our needle. And we're just going to go across that gap just to sew it shut. So I'm going to go across here, go across back to the other side, and just continue to repeat that, making sure to pull it tight so it closes up a bit. Oops, that tail got caught up in there. Okay, free that guy. Now we've got the tail free. And just a couple more. One more here. And we'll check from the other side. It looks good. I don't see any gap, any hole. So we can go ahead and tie this off. We've got a lot of pieces around here, so just be careful you're connecting to the right end. So I'm just gonna tie this loosely to the other tails just to keep it kind of in place. I'm not gonna pull too tight because I don't want these tips to pull inward. And I'm just gonna trim that a little bit to make my life a little easier as I'm going along. And we can just stuff that in later. So now we've got our sewed piece, and it's starting to look a little bit like an end cap, one of the leaves. So let's continue on with row 6. Row 6, we're going to do some decreases to start. So we're going to do 1 invisible single crochet decrease. We're going to do 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just to get us to the end part here. We're going to do 2 decrease to start bringing that part in. So that's 1 decrease, 2 decrease. And then we're going to do 5 single crochet again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And another decrease. Decrease. There. And now we're just going to repeat that on the other side. So starting with that decrease again. 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Our 2 decreases at the back. 1 and 2. 5 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And our last decrease. Great. And that is row 6, ending with 28 stitches. All right, row 7, we're going to continue decreasing, and I'm just going to tuck these guys in here on this side, make that a bit easier. Okay, so round 7 is 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then 3 decreases. We're going to be a little more aggressive on this side. 1, bring that in a bit more. 2 and 3. And then just another 4 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat again. So another 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 single crochet, 1, 2, and 3, and 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So that'll put us at 22 stitches at the end of this round. Okay, and round 8, we're going to do a couple more decreases. So we're going to do decrease, 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, a decrease, and 4 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat, decrease, 3 single crochet, 1, 2, 3, decrease, 1, and then 4 single crochet, 3 and 4. Puts us at 18 stitches at the end of this row, row 8. Replace that. And here we can start to stuff a little bit. We'll stuff also after the next row, so I'll just start stuffing out the end pieces with some of our polyester stuffing. Get that side too. Starting to look pretty good. Maybe just a little bit more for now. Okay, that's a good start. And let's go ahead and do row 9. Oops. Row 9 is a single crochet followed by a invisible decrease 6 times. So we're going to do 1, decrease, 2, decrease, 3, decrease, 4, decrease, 5, decrease, and 6, decrease. Great. And we're actually going to finish this off here with a long tail to sew later. And we'll stuff a little bit more as well. Just want to make sure they're nice and round and even across on both sides. Okay, that looks pretty good to me. And you see it's looking like that end piece. So we've got to do a couple more of these. So this is one of the side pieces. We'll repeat this with another end cap in entirety to make this other side piece. And we'll make sure to finish that one off with a long tail as well. And then we're going to repeat it all again for this other piece, this third and last piece, to make the top part, but we're not going to cut it and finish off. We're going to keep that live. So let's go ahead. I'll go ahead and make those separately and rejoin you. Feel free to rewatch again, to go through it again with me, and I'll rejoin you when I've got 2 of these complete and finished off and a third finished but live. Alright, so now we have our pieces all ready to connect. We've got our 2 side pieces and this piece, which is still on the live yarn. And so now we're going to connect them up. This will be the back side, probably. And it's up to you which side you prefer to be the front or the back, because we do the stem last, and it should be, I mean, for the most part, pretty reversible. But we're going to also decide, so some of the pieces you may notice, this looks a bit bigger than this other piece, so decide how you want them to face, if you want them to be bigger on the bottom, bigger on the top. If there are those small visual differences, just pay attention when you're connecting to connect it up the way that you'd like it to look in the end. So, and another thing on this next part, it's just the more difficult part, be careful not to twist pieces. Until they're all the way connected, it'll be a bit tricky to keep things straight. So we'll just do this all together and go ahead and get started. So this is row 10. We're going to crochet off to the side here so we have a good place to start connecting from. So that'll be 3 single crochets. 1, 2, and 3. So now we're off to the side a bit more. And we are going to, this will be the top part. So if you see here, it's going to arrange itself something like that. So we've gotten to this part here. We're going to crochet across this leaf, chain across the bottom to make the bottom part, crochet up, and then crochet back to our starting point on the one side. So we've gotten to the side, we're going to do 1 chain and then connect into this leaf. So I'm going to connect it from the top here, and we're going to start from the side. So find roughly where the side is. I'm going to go in here. Find our yarn again, and we're going to do 6 single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 brings us to the end of this one. You see here it's connected now. We're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now we're going to connect up to this piece on this side. Find the side, something like that there. And do 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So now it's looking like that. Move this other one out of the way for a while. And now we're going to chain 1 and connect back into this piece. So you see where our end is. We're going to count 2 more back. So that's 1, 2, 3, and we're going to connect into here. Move my yarn first. 1, 2, 3, connect into here, so that we do our final 3 single crochet. 2 and 3. Okay. So all this is upside down, but here's what we're looking at right now. So we've got our chain on the bottom, and then each of them connected with a chain towards the top. And now we're just going to start the decreasing to fill in the center part on this side. So we're just going to decrease around. One, two, decrease into the chain. Three, four, oops. And if doing an invisible decrease into the chain is a bit too tricky, oops, it can get a little tight. Feel free to do a normal decrease. I might end up actually doing that. Visually it won't matter so much towards the bottom anyways. 1, 2, and in this case it doesn't hurt having the extra material to help fill in the center a bit. Back to decrease here. Oops. You might find it a little bit fiddly trying to work around these leaves. I'll admit it does get a little bit tricky. So just go slow. We've lost our stitch marker down the center there, so there is pulling it back out again so we can see where we're meant to end. And one more decrease. If for whatever reason you end up with a odd number, just do a single crochet. It's fine. We're just trying to decrease enough through the center to fill it in. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we're just going to decrease again. It's nicer once we have the other round 11, already in place on the chain, so we can decrease more easily down the bottom. And I'm pulling up through sometimes. It's, like I said, it's a bit fiddly trying to get into these sometimes with these leaves in the way. But just do your best to make the stitches neat. Sometimes it helps to pull them up through the middle. And we're, on this round, actually going to end with a single crochet because I ended up with a odd number there. So we're just decreasing towards the end. So I'm ending up here with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'm going to go ahead and finish off here, so I can sew that shut. Attach the yarn to our needle and go the front loops only to close it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Oops. And I'll just pull it back around when it gets stuck on some leaves, which I'll probably inevitably do. Pull it tight a bit. And then just kind of sew it around a few times to make sure it's secure. We're going to pop it back out on this side and just connect through a few more times. If you want to, you can bring it out to one of these tails. The tails will just be to sew in if we have any gaps at the end. So you could bring the tail around. That looks pretty good to me. So we can leave that live. It'll just be stuffed down into the middle anyways. And here's what it's starting to look like. So this is the front or back depending on your preference. And then this is the opposite side, still open. So our next task is to close up around this side. We're going to stuff it a little bit in the center as we go, and then we'll do the stem and finish it off. So we're going to pull these tails out of the way. We're going to attach our yarn just here at the bottom corner before the chain part. So we'll go ahead, put that through, and bring up a loop and chain to attach. Alright, so now we're off to the side on the right, and we're going to do 6 single crochet across the bottom. Make sure to place your stitch marker as well so we don't lose our place. Put that there. You can kind of feel for the back side of the chain bumps. 5 and 6. So that's our 6 across the bottom. And then we're just going to do decrease single crochets across the rest of it. And just go in best you can. Try to grab up the material and close it up. So I'm going to actually go into this connecting piece here and decrease across this, for instance. Decrease single crochet. Grab that part. Oops. Decrease across there. Single crochet. And we're not going for perfect here, we're just going to try to close up as much as we can in a decreasing fashion. These tails, move them over here so you can see a bit better. The decrease, we'll go into a single crochet here. I'm just going to do normal decrease instead of invisible decrease on the ends here, just because it's a bit easier, and there's a tiny gap we might be able to sew that up later. One of these tails. As decrease, we'll do a single crochet. Decrease, single crochet. Last time I did this, I ended up with around 24 stitches, roughly. So we're kind of shooting to get in that realm as we move along. Decrease, single crochet, whoops, single crochet, whoops, decrease, Yes, this is probably one of the trickier parts, is trying to just get into all these stitches with these leaves in your way. But we're nearly there. Let's see, single crochet. Decrease. Single crochet. And I'm actually going to decrease in this last part to connect up to the chain that I did before. Kind of bring that in a little bit closer. Okay, whew. So that was row 10 on the back side, or the front side, depending on which side you want it to be. We've got some of these tails around. If you plan on sewing some gaps shut, these aren't actually looking too bad. You might want to go ahead and do that now. So I'll just do that one on the side there. Kind of stood out as being a little bit more open. Oh, that looks pretty good to me. That side didn't look too bad, but I guess if I'm doing this, I might as well sew that one too. I'll just bring this tail up and around from this other side. And through there. That already looks pretty good. And I'm just gonna bring this one down to meet the tail where we connected our yarn for this last one. Cut that. We're going to tie these two together, make it just a little bit more secure. And we'll stuff those back into that leaf. And these two, tie these guys together loosely and tuck them into this leaf here. And if, like I said, if you don't want to sew any of the gaps shut, just go ahead and tuck them inside the leaves and get the tails out of the way anyways. And we're just gonna, got a scrap piece there, I'm just gonna tuck that in there. And at this point I also recommend starting to fill out, you see there's a little bit of room in some of these leaves as we're sewing them shut, like that one has some room too. So we can go ahead and stuff them just a little bit more here and onwards to your preference of firmness. We do want them to have some nice structure because otherwise they'll kind of flop around a little bit. That's just my opinion. I do like my plushie stuffed a little bit more firmly though, so I understand if you want to go a little bit less firm. Great, okay. So now we're just going to do this pretty similar to the other side. We're just going to be doing some decrease rows. So our next row, we're just going to decrease around. And aside from having the leaves in your way still, it should start to get a little bit easier again. We've got our stitches in place. Sorry for the squeaking. Come on, buddy. It's 4 decrease. 5. 8. 9. Oh man. 10. 11. Yeah, 12. And I've got an odd number again, so I'm just going to single crochet this last one. All right. So now you start to see we're closing it up a little bit towards the middle. So let's go ahead and stuff just a little bit more to make sure these connecting leaf pieces are going to stand up. Because the next row will be our last decrease row before we finish off. So we want to stuff the bulk of it right now. It's looking pretty good. We'll stuff down here a little bit. And just a little bit more on this side. You can use the back of your hook to kind of get it in there if that's easier at this point. Do a little bit more in the top. Great. Looking good. And now we're just going to do our next decrease row. Working around the leaves still. One decrease. It might be easier to put it on the table like I'm doing here to kind of work your way into the leaves. 3. 4. 5. 6. And I'm going to end on a single crochet in my case as well, but if you can end on a decrease, even better. Just closing it up a bit. Okay. So now we're going to set a long tail to finish sewing it closed, but first we're going to stuff it just a little bit more in the center here. You see there's a little bit of a gap still, so we can use our finger or the back of our crochet hook just to make sure the center is nicely stuffed before we close it up. Great. That's looking awesome. So let's go ahead and sew that closed. I had 7 in my case, so I'm going to go front loops again to do the decrease. 2. Pulling gently as I go. And sometimes when the leaf is in the way, it's tougher to get in the front loop. I'd prefer the front loop, but if you can't get in, that's just fine. Just go where you can to get the decrease to finish off. And last one. Great, and we'll go ahead and just go around a few times to make sure it is secure. Looks pretty good. Pop it out here. Great. So now all we have left is the tail, the stem part. So we're going to decide which side we want to be the front and which side we want to be the back. I'm still preference for the last part that we did to be the front, but it's totally up to you. It doesn't really matter. We're going to be attaching our yarn to the bottom anyways. So because I want this to be my front, this will be my right side, this will be my left, we can go ahead, take our yarn one last time, put the yarn tail out of the way, and we're going to attach it to the right side here, with a little bit of a tail, and chain. We're going to make 6 single crochet around in kind of a circle pattern. So just do the best you can to wayfind some good spots. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you kind of want 2 and 5 to be centered on either side, oops, of the clover. There's my 5 and 6. Great, so we've got something like that centered around the bottom. And I'm going to attach actually my stitch marker here. Oops. Great. So now we're going to do a few rows of just single crocheting around. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This first one was the chain, so I'm just going to do a decrease across the chain and the first single crochet to close it up a bit nicely. So that's a decrease. Oops. And 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, nope, that was our first single crochet. That's my bad. Okay, so yeah, just 6 single crochet then. So make sure you get both loops of that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 stitch marker. And it'll be a bit awkward with the leaves again, just working around them for the first couple of rows until we get past them. So that's 1 row. Cool, that's looking really good. So let's go ahead and let's do 4 more rows for a total of 5. So row 2, 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Oops. That's row 2. I'm just going to count from now on. The duck gets in the way a little bit. Row 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Row 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and another one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 here. And you can shorten how many rows you want to do depending on how long you want the stem to be. So here's what we're looking at right now. Excuse me. So we've got this tail still sticking out and we've got this live here. So we're going to crochet a couple of stitches to make sure we end on this right side here. So we can do a little bit of a lean to the stem. Okay, so now we're squarely on the right side. And this is only if you want that little bit of a curve at the bottom. It's totally optional. You can just finish off here if you want, crochet a couple rows, then finish off, just depending on what you're interested in. So if you're going to do the curve, we're going to do 2 single crochet, a decrease on this left side here, oops, decrease, a single crochet, and an increase, 1, 2, and you're going to do that one more time, 2 single crochet, 2, a decrease, a single crochet, and an increase. And then we're going to finish off with 6 single crochet just to even it out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we can cut this now. Pull that off. And I don't stuff the stem. You can if you'd like to get it in there, and I would recommend stuffing it as you're going rather than at the end here, but you could if you want to. I find it doesn't really need it. And we're going to close this up through the front loops. And 6. Close that up a bit and just kind of thread it down and around to secure it. And if there are any, you can take a look. Sorry about that, guys. This is a new camera and auto shut off due to heat. So I'll just finish this up really quickly. I was going to say, if there are any gaps, just look around your work and make sure just to sew those up. And we'll just quickly finish up and close our work off. So we're going to just take our tails, pop out the same holes, and bind those off. And then I'll take this longer one, bring that around, back through the same hole, and pop out where this tail is at. Pull that to pull the tail in. We can tuck that in, it's not too long. Tuck that in, and then we'll go ahead and attach these And then go back in that same hole, pop out on the other side. Oops, got the stem in there. Pull that through. And we'll just go ahead, pop that out over here. Cut that. And tuck that tail in to the center. And we'll go ahead and tuck this other tail in as well. And there you have it. There is your clover. And you can fiddle with the stem a little bit to encourage it to curve a little bit here. I hope you enjoyed this pattern. And it's perfect, yeah, for March, for St. Patrick's Day. So I hope you love it. Go ahead and leave a clover in the comments if you completed this pattern and got this far. And go ahead, and I appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe to see more of my videos in the future. Great. Happy March. Enjoy the pattern.